Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. It's been a minute. We've had some serious life events going on, but we're back. So I'm Dylan. Joining me as always, Cam and Ben. If you haven't listened to us before, and we're kicking off our return with a little promotion. We got asked to do some Warner Brothers promotions in honor of their 100th anniversary. They are releasing for the first time ever in 4K Ultra HD, Rebel Without a Cause, Maltese Falcon, and Cool Hand Luke, two of which we've already done. The third we're doing right now.
Can you guess which one it is?
It's Rebel Without a Cause. And so if you want to participate, we are having a giveaway for this Warner Brothers 100. You can build your collection of cinematic classics, now available for the first time in stunning 4K Ultra HD. Academy Award winner Humphrey Bogart in The Maltese Falcon, Academy Award winner Paul Newman in Cool Hand Luke, and iconic James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause. You can win these by going to our Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod, following the directions there to enter. We got 5 codes to give away. At the end of the month, we'll go through, find our winners randomly selected, and we're going to give out the codes. We'll DM you on Instagram, so head over there, and shout out to Warner Brothers for helping us out. This week we're doing Rebel Without a Cause, a 1955 drama film.
Yeah, it's categorically drama.
Stars, well, it's most famous for being one of James Dean's 3 films he did as a star. It's directed by Nicholas Ray. It also stars Natalie Wood and Sal Mineo, Jim Backus. Ben, you have a cocktail for us, I believe.
I do. So, this week's cocktail is the Toreador, which you might remember is what Buzz calls James or Jim as they're playing the what is it, the Chickie race? So, the Toreador is kind of like the cousin of the margarita. So you're going to use tequila, a apricot liqueur or an apricot brandy, lime juice, and then optionally you can use agave syrup and bitters. So like I said, it's kind of like the cousin of the margarita. The apricot brandy kind of takes the place of the triple sec. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's good. I think you can probably use some different brandies and try it some different ways. Could probably be a little interesting. You know, we've done, I think, some brandy drinks on the pod that have called for like peach or apple or some other different kind of flavored brandies. I think it would be an interesting way to try. I thought it was good. Like I said, kind of seemed margarita-ish, but still a little bit sweeter and a little bit of a different flavor to it. Check out them show notes below on how to make yourself a Toreador. And if maybe you're missing any ingredients, head on over to, Drizzly or Casker and go ahead and order some with the code.
It's just a link.
Oh, all right. Just follow the link below. You don't even have to type in a code. That's how fucking awesome it is. You just click the link and order it, and it comes right to you.
We're kind of rusty, It's been a couple months.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
So, had anyone seen this film before?
No. I feel like this was one of those that's like always been on my should watch list and then just kind of never got around to it.
This and East of Eden have always been on my watch list because I'm like, they're classics. They're James Dean. Like, James Dean has this persona about him that he's like, I feel like he's become an icon bigger than he ever actually was.
Because 3 movies all in the year he died.
Yeah, and he rose to fame and then got in a car crash and died at the age of 24. It was
so I mean, it's almost like if Orson Welles would have died right after Citizen Kane, right? Like the dude literally hit the peak and then just was gone. But what's really weird is all 3 stars of this movie were gone way too young.
Yeah, I think I saw Sal died at like
Wood,
37.
Yeah, so Sal died at 37. He was like stabbed in a random mugging.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, he was coming back from rehearsal for a play he was in, and somebody like stabbed him in the chest. Like that was it. Natalie Wood's death is a bit weirder. There's a whole big conspiracy around it. Because at the time of her death, she was with her then husband, who was, I'm trying to remember his name, Robert Wagner, famous actor in a lot of things. She was like with her husband on their yacht, and then she drowned. But there's a giant mystery about like how she ended up in the water.
Anytime anyone drowns from a giant yacht, I'm immediately suspicious.
Ever been, and that's the thing. Like no one was ever like charged or anything. But it's been one of those, like, it's one of those weird Hollywood mysteries. That's like what really happened.
Who is that one actress that also like same thing, like died, like drowned, but it turned out later she was like trying to save her baby or something?
Oh, that was Naya Rivera.
She was in like Glee or something, right?
Oh, yeah. I remember that now. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But this is an interesting... So this is from the LA Times. This was at the end of 2021. That... this article says that in 2013, county coroners changed Natalie Wood's cause of death from accidental drowning to, quote, drowning and other undetermined factors. And the coroner's report cited fresh bruises on her arms and knees, along with a scratch on her neck and a scrape on her forehead, as evidence she might have been assaulted before she drowned.
That's sketchy.
Some questions?
Yeah, so it's one of those things where, like, it's been heavily implied that Robert Wagner had something to do with it, but nothing was ever proven. And also Robert Wagner was, super famous and big in Hollywood. So, he just kept acting and doing stuff. And that's just, how shitty things get shittier, right?
Wow, apparently Dennis Hopper was one of the his
street toughs.
Goon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
But yeah, how weird, right? That like all 3 of them died super young. And none of them really of natural causes. Was just like, is this movie cursed?
Yeah, so like Ben said, like this has been on my watch list for a long time, and I was like, I gotta watch these James Dean movies. Like everyone talks about them, gotta get them. So it just never made it onto my plate, and then I feel like I kind of slept on this one for a little bit. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I will say one of the most famous lines in the movie happens in like the first 10 minutes, but that line is also ruined for me because
You're
of the
tearing
room.
me apart.
Yep.
Yes, I heard that and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? God damn it. You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Yeah, I was like waiting for that line, and then I was like, no, it happens in the police station because I've seen that line before from this movie, and then I was like, oh shit, here it comes.
It's funny because there are other similarities to The Room. Like you can, so like if you have read the book or
The Disaster Artist,
or have seen the movie, you know that like James Dean is like some inspiration for this guy. I feel like in The Room, Tommy, I don't remember his name off the top of my head for some reason. His character's name.
Why
Johnny.
so?
That's right, Johnny. No, Johnny and Lisa and Denny, their relationship seems very, very weirdly similar to
Interesting. I didn't
the
think of
relationship
that.
between Jim, Judy, and Plato. It's like exactly the
That
same.
makes sense. I did not think of that. Yeah, like he's like the third wheel, but also kind of like a childlike to them.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
like childlike
that
to
relationship
them,
was
but like
fucking weird.
oh, it's weird, and it's weird in the room. It's the exact same thing though. It's so weird both ways. And then both Denny with an E and and Plato end up like getting into some bad shit. And I mean, the difference is obviously Plato dies and Denny does not, if I remember correctly. But
No, Denny.
Denny just
The only
becomes
one who
involved
dies.
with a drug
The only one who
kingpin or
dies is
something.
Johnny.
Yeah, that's right. Way to ruin the ending for everybody.
Wait,
If you
if they're
haven't seen
listening
The
at this point, if you haven't seen The Room, go ahead and go back and listen to our Room episode.
Okay,
God.
so all right, since we've already talked about this, I wanted to bring this up. So here's my hypothetical question right now. I have so many things to talk about. Are we supposed to sympathize with Plato? Like, are we supposed to feel bad that he died?
Yeah.
Because, like, here's my thing. He's a psychopath. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, he was killing animals in the beginning.
like, he's kind of a product of his situation. Like, he needed therapy. His mom didn't want to pay for it, and so she dipped to Hawaii, he says. But, like, yeah, he shot a litter of puppies at the beginning of the film. That's
Like,
the reason
why did
he's
you
there.
kill those puppies? Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I mean, I
he's
think
not a... I don't feel bad for him in a sense.
I think it's
like,
a situation where it's kind of just like sad. Like, I don't like. I think you're kind of supposed to feel sad about it, but also not at the same time. I also am wondering what that looks like back then, because like now, all of us know, right, that like one of the signs.
all of us have seen Criminal Minds, and we're all aware that like torturing animals is like the first sign that kid is messed up.
Right, that's like the first sign of psychopath. One of the 3 signs of like of psychopathy or whatever is that, and so like I don't know if that would have been treated with the same like disdain as it would today, but in any case, I think that it's supposed to be kind of somewhere in the middle where you're like, this is a sad situation that this kid is in. Like, the only person trying to take care of him is
like the housekeeper.
Yeah.
Also, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. When Jim goes and sees the poster for the whole planetarium thing, does it not say juniors and seniors?
Yeah, it does.
So, Plato is only maybe a year younger than this guy, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what makes it weird, right? That's what makes it weirder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's he's like his father
obsessed,
figure,
like he sees him as a father figure when he's like the same age.
Right.
Oh, it's so weird when he's like talking to Stella, I think is the character's name, right?
Judy?
Judy?
Judy? Oh.
The main woman?
Dylan out here watching
Natalie Wood?
Dylan out here watching Streetcar of Desire.
It's Judy.
I don't know.
I got the page up. It's Judy.
But yeah, like when he's talking to her and he's like, I want him to take me fishing because he's not gonna get mad and he'll be easy and he like, what does he say? He's like, it's Jim, but it's actually James Jamie if he likes you.
Yeah, and if he likes you enough, you can call him Jamie. And I'm like, no one in this fucking movie has called this guy Jamie the entire time.
And then she calls him Jamie, and he's like, where the fuck did you hear that?
Right, it's like, that's not my
Excuse
name.
me?
What the fuck?
No, it was... I kept watching being like, this kid's fucking
But they're
creepy.
all weird. They're all weird. Like, James Dean's character is like the only one who's like semi-normal, even though like, I don't know why he's like weirdly obsessed that his dad is like a simp.
Okay,
But,
I disagree
But the girl
with that only because
kissing
I
her
think the
dad-
dad is the most normal character in this entire thing.
the dad's just he's just
he seems
okay
like
guy.
a normal, sympathetic
Yeah.
father, and he's like, wait, I'm mad that my dad doesn't commit spousal abuse
smack
against
my
my
mom. Yeah,
mom.
it doesn't.
What
Like
the hell?
when he's wearing the apron and like taking dinner to his wife because she doesn't feel good, and he's like drops it, and he's like, "Dad, you gotta stand up to her, leave it
It's
on
like,
the ground." And I'm like,
you should leave it. Let her see it. What are you trying to prove here, dude?
A true alpha would leave it.
Well, and his dad's like in normal fashion is like, what are you talking about? I have to I should clean this up. I made a mess. He's like, no, I don't like this. I don't like being called a chicken because I don't want to be like my dad. Like, what? What is happening?
I don't want to be some
you like
beta
this?
cuck male. I'm an alpha. Dude, chill out.
but like the girl like trying to like kiss her dad was so fucking weird too, man. Like,
That was weird, and then her dad's reaction to it was super weird
yeah,
because he was basically slut shaming
okay, I'm
her
not
at some
saying-
point. You know,
I'm not saying it's okay to like, but like I get he's like no, like you're too old, like this is over, like don't like fucking kiss me, but like
The whole thing was weird. The whole interaction was strange.
Yeah, Tom Brady. I think she's a little old to kiss her on the mouth.
Yeah, the whole interaction was weird with her dad. I mean, why she was even in the thing to begin with, like the police station. Was
yeah, like,
he
rubbed
was
the
like
lipstick
mad
off
that
her
she was wearing
face.
lipstick or something, and
Yeah, like she was like lashing out because her dad like quote didn't love her anymore or whatever, like didn't pay attention to her, so she was like dressing more racy and like putting
right.
lipstick
So
on.
weird. Like, what's happening?
Looking for boys.
I'll be honest, I think the most normal stereotypical characters were like the greasers who were getting in knife fights and driving around in stolen cars. Like that's like the most quintessential 50s thing. Like you're like, oh, they're a 50s gang and this is the shit they do. Okay. Checks out.
Yeah. Mhm.
Just a casual knife fight at Griffith Observatory, you know.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Just
and the
knife
staff
fights
was
with
like-
Rumble.
boys.
The staff was just like, "Oh yeah, no, we got some trouble."
and hey, all James had to do was just cut one button and then he'd be in. He's part of the group. Only not really.
After he
'cause then
slashed the
then
tires.
he wins. Then he wins the fight, and then it's like, oh, you think you're a big shot? Well, let's do this other thing. Wait a
Let's all
minute.
pretend to
You just
drive
said-
off a cliff
you-
together.
Well, you just said if I cut off a button, then like we're cool. I cut off your button. I think that means I'm cool.
Yeah.
No, if you're really cool, we'll do this more dangerous thing. Fuck
Do
you.
this thing that totally can't backfire and jump out of a moving car as it goes off a cliff. There's nothing that can go wrong with that.
See, the problem is that Buzz never did the test jump. He fucked up.
Yeah.
Was anyone just like, what the fuck, when they're at the mansion, they're like, oh, let's go walk around or whatever, let's go explore. And then they're like laying on the thing, and she's just like, I'm in love. I never knew what it was like to be in love. And I'm like, you fucking dude.
Your boyfriend just died.
He
yesterday.
yeeted himself off the cliff. No, same day. It was the same day.
Yeah, it was.
It's the same night. And the dude just
Yeah,
died.
and it's like you've known
Just
this
like, I
dude
love
for
you.
2 days in total. and one
Also,
of those days
not-
you were dating the other guy who died.
No, it's the same day still. It's still the same day.
Yeah,
No,
they
'cause
met
he
that
met-
morning
no.
at school. They met that morning
that-
going to school.
The whole movie
Okay.
takes place
unless
in
you
one
want to,
day.
unless you want to count the night before or whatever at the police station,
But they didn't
where
meet. They didn't meet at the
they
police
didn't really
station.
meet.
he
They
saw
just
her.
saw
He
each
saw
other.
her.
Yeah,
he didn't,
but
like,
it's not like
he didn't
they
talk to her.
introduced each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I knew when I saw you this morning, like that
Right.
it was gonna be a good day or something. I forget what he's
Yeah.
but like,
That was strange. Your boyfriend just died, and you don't really know this guy. And he's also hanging around this weird Play-Doh dude who murdered
He's also hanging
puppies.
around this other. He's also hanging around this other kid who's the same age but thinks of you as parents. Also, did I miss the alcohol bottles, or were they supposed to be sober inside the mansion?
I
think
they
they were
were
supposed to be
sober
sober.
in the mansion.
if you would have put like one or two open bottles, I would have bought that they were drunk acted, like they were acting drunk through that entire thing.
Like when they were like fake buying the house.
Well, not
Or
just
when they
that,
were
but
just
like
running
even
around.
afterwards, when it's like, well, let's go explore, and the two of them are like going through, and it seems like they're kind of like half stumbling through the house. And I don't know, it just, you could have sold that as them being drunk, and I would have been like, yeah, that makes way more sense than them being sober at that point.
No, it was weird. It was. I feel like it had all the wrong messages and like points in the entire thing. You know, like it was like, hey, it's cool to bully people. It's cool. It's awesome. Your dad should stand up to your mom more. You know, maybe physically. You know. Oh, also the Judy. She says the line. She basically tells him that she is a really shitty person when she's with the crew, but not by herself. Like she's
Yeah, you
like,
can't
oh, I'm
judge
not,
me.
yeah.
You can't judge me by the way I am with my friends.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
what?
when I'm with the kids.
Like
Which is the way she says that when I'm with the kids. You
Yeah.
are a kid. You cannot be the same age and like consider yourself above when you are literally in a police station as a means of getting attention the night before.
This movie, I don't know. I feel like
it
sometimes you get
encapsulates boomer
movies-
culture. You can say it.
No, I was gonna say I feel like a lot of movies come from the perspective of like the like adults coming back, like you know, like Reefer Madness, in the sense of like where it's like this is bad. Like I feel like this movie is kind of like counterculture's movie back to the adults, where it's like this is from the perspective of the kids. Like this is like, you know, we're troubled. This is what it's really like to be a kid. Like it's kind of like sending that message of this is everything that happens in real life, parents.
To me, this movie was if John Hughes was in the wrong.
I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, I will say.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the movie. I just think, like, if John Hughes' thought was, like, the character... If John Hughes were in a dark place, I feel like that's what this movie would be.
Yeah, I think overall, like, I thought it was okay. Like, it wasn't the worst, like, old movie I've seen, for sure. But it's just, like, I don't know. Everything about it rubbed me in the wrong way a little bit for a long time. Like, there was something about, like, every single part of the movie that was like, what? Oh, God. Why?
I just feel like so much of the movie was like sporadic.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be my biggest complaint is like we start out we're in jail, and then we go and it's just a normal day at school, but we're, you know, he moves or whatever in the thing, and then that pisses off this like greaser gang, and I'm like, okay, all right, and then now somehow
Like, what are they
doing
so
this,
mad
like,
about? You know, like, what are they mad about, really?
Oh, so, okay. So in my head, the main, like, Buzz is automatically still mad at him because he, in his mind, which, you know, not a couple hours after he dies, it seems like even in the beginning, he's, like, hitting on Buzz's girlfriend, which I feel like is where he's just like, okay, what the hell, man? But I don't get... I feel like that's where Buzz is coming from, but the other guy's being like, oh, man, he mooed during the planetarium show.
Yeah.
What a dick move.
What a tool.
He outclowned you.
What a tool. We should go knife fight that guy in the parking lot.
We should slash his tires and then later try to kill him.
That's the thing. I'm like, if somebody made a joke in class, you're gonna go and like slash his tire and then fucking try to stab him.
The 50s were
public?
wild, man.
I guess.
Make America
It
great
is
again,
funny
right?
that I
Just
feel
like
like-
the 50s, where we would knife fight in planetariums.
It's funny because I feel like this is portraying their idea of like fooling around as like slashing tires and getting in knife fights, you know?
Cutting each other.
It's like if you did that today, that would be like multiple counts of crimes all in one, and you would be arrested and probably put in jail.
Hey
Well, it's
guys,
like
let's
when
go commit assault with a deadly weapon against one another.
Let's
Just for
damage
shiggles.
property and commit felonious assault on somebody. That'd be great.
Well, what's so crazy is like you see that in movies, and that's like, so that's the idea of what like greasers were. But then like these people just went on. They graduate, then they just go on and have normal jobs. Like 2
Yeah.
years later, this is just a normal dude.
They become Supreme Court justices, you know?
boofing beers and
PJ and Squee, man. I know
boofing
he's not
beers and
that
having
old,
knife
but
fights.
Still, I mean, yeah, exactly, right? They
I
were greasers, and then they, I don't know.
knife fights. All right, I like me and my friends PJ
like
and Squee
knives.
would pull out our switchblades. We try to cut the buttons off of each other's shirts, and if someone got stabbed, so be it.
Yeah, what were his rules? He was like I forget what it was. It was like you stab, you don't slash or something. Was that what it was? I forget.
Yeah, they were definitely doing jabby mode. It was jabs.
It was jabs, not slap. I don't know.
It was they did mention something about jabs.
I like
the
how
man
they're
literally was like Mike Myers holding the thing at one point. Like he was like friggin', he was like holding it like down. Like he was about
fucking
to
fucking Norman Bates.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
What I love is the fact that there was, mind you, they were willing to stab each other, but only if the other guy was also holding a knife.
I mean, that's just honor, you know. You can't jab a defenseless man.
See, now Cam gets the movie. Now he understands. It was all about honor. That's the whole point of the movie. Was he called him a chicken?
And not being a chicken like your dad who won't hit his wife, you know? Like, it's just so bad. Like, the whole point is, like, it's like, why? Why is the I just don't understand why Jim, this man of honor, like, his obsession is not being a coward like he perceives his dad to be. But it's like, he's not a coward. His dad is not a coward.
Which is just another thing I just realized is such a huge loop to the room of the whole, like, oh, are you a chicken? Cheap. As the way to goad anyone into doing anything is just immediately go chicken.
That's actually a really good point. I mean, that's another parallel to the room. This friggin' chicken thing. Oh my god. Have any of you heard of chicken? Oh man.
But yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's right. That's a good point.
So, okay, so the other thing that I had a question about was, did anyone else think the ending was going to go differently? Because when Jim goes into the planetarium and he's like, oh, like, do you want my jacket? And then he takes the gun from him. I'm like, oh no, Jim's about to go out there and get shot because he walked in with the red coat. And then he's going to come out and he's going to have the gun. But then he's like, oh, no, give me the gun. And I'm like, okay, so maybe he's okay. But I just thought something with, like, him handing him the red jacket was going to get him killed because he was going to walk out there and just get blasted.
Yeah, I honestly had no clue where the movie was going, if I'm being honest with you, at the end. I was just there for the ride. Like, what? All right.
My thought was that just because I've seen too many movies, my thought was, oh, Jim, you fool. You got to empty the one in the chamber. You always forget the one in the chamber.
It didn't matter anyway. He went out and immediately got murked. It was pretty bad.
But, okay, so to loop back to my point of, like, I feel like this movie is, like, it's the kids, like, talking to the adults. Like, the part where Jim is going to go turn himself in, and his parents are like, no, don't do that, it's going to ruin your career or whatever. And he goes to the police station to, like, literally turn himself in, and they just won't listen to him. And it's like, I don't know, that was just so humorous to me, where it's like, oh, he's trying to do the right thing, and then literally, like, the adults won't listen to him because he's just a kid and he wants to talk to the fucking
Well, do you think there's even something, like, there about the fact of, like, the cop is literally like, anytime, day or night, you can come here, like, get a hold of me?
And then
And
he's
then it
not there.
just seems like the minute he goes to do it, he's immediately just like, yeah, he's not here. Too bad. Get over it. Leave.
Right. Yeah.
Ben, I feel like in my mind when I started to watch this movie, I was like, Ben's gonna fucking love this movie. Like it feels kind of like what's the what's the one we did? American Graffiti. Like it's kind of American Graffiti-esque to me, like 50s Americana.
Yeah, I think if this movie was filmed and took place in like 19, I give it like another 2-3 years, and that soundtrack would have just hit me in the heart. I'd have been even more all about it. Uh, I will say that yes, like there are parts, and I there were some parts of this, like the knife fight at the planetarium. Like I feel like I've definitely kind of seen that spoofed before. Um, like I feel like I've seen a couple shows or something, kind of like probably like one of the probably McFarlane shows, like Family Guy or maybe even like American Dad or something, that was like, oh yeah, it's a knife fight at the planetarium. It's just like that movie. Um, so like that was something that I'd remembered kind of seeing before, not realizing it came from this movie. But yeah, there were some things where I was just like, oh yeah, this makes sense. This seems geared towards my boomer ass. And then
Huh.
then shit took a turn, and I was like, maybe this is not geared towards my boomer ass.
As someone who just loves cinematography, this movie, like the CinemaScope, kind of sucked to watch on my computer. That's why you should enter the giveaway and get that 4K UHD. Watch that on your nice television, not on an iMac while your baby's screaming in the background. But man, some of the shots in this movie, like obviously there's like the like you're tearing me apart. It's just iconic for the line and like the setting, but like the scene where you're about to do the chickie run or whatever, the chickie race, and she like drops her hands and the camera
All the
and the
lights.
cars like zoom past her. That I've seen that used multiple times, and like if you ever watch like a supercut of like cinema's history, like that's always used there. The shot where Jim is like laying upside down in the living room and his mom comes down the stairs and it like rotates back over to like the normal, like it shows her upside down but then rotates back over
Oh
to
yeah.
like being right side up. I was like, holy shit, this is like, was this movie 55? I'm like, what the fuck? Doing some wild shit out here for 55.
Yeah.
I will say, watching this movie, it did at times feel more like a movie set in 1955 and less like a movie that was actually made in 1955.
I don't know if it's just because like James Dean starred in this movie and like everything surrounding it and like why he's like the star he is, but like the guy who directed this movie, I don't know another movie that he did. Like this was like his one movie. I feel like it looks like he did one with like Humphrey Bogart
Yeah,
called
that's
In
what I
a
was just
Lonely
gonna say.
Place in the 50s, but like I've never heard of that movie. So it's just interesting to me that like there's some stars in this movie. Like you have James Dean, you have Dennis Hopper, but like other than that, it just kind of seems like one of those movies that like just somehow made it, like grew through the weeds and made it. I don't know. I don't know.
Natalie
Like
Wood's pretty famous, right?
Yeah, I mean,
West Side Story, Miracle on 34th,
which I mean, yeah, West Side
Revolt
Story,
Out of
which
Cause.
was a little bit later on, but yeah, I mean, she'd been acting since she was like 4 years old.
So I think she was pretty famous.
they just cranked shit out back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well, that's
They
what's
went-
even more
they went-
surprising that he was only in 3 movies, right? Is like
I mean, yeah.
they make so many.
Realistically, when you sign like a deal with a studio, you were making just movie after movie after movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that was basically like, you look at most actors of that day, it was like, oh, they signed with this studio and then they just cranked out movies nonstop until people were sick of them.
I mean, yeah, the director of photography, he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 movies in 1921, and then like every other year did pretty much like 4 or 5 movies a year.
God, wow.
I'm like, damn, dude. Like, that's when they went full like Ford assembly line. It's like, all right, we got Humphrey Bogart for 6 pictures. So let's get him in here.
Yeah.
Quick, we've
They
got
shot
Humphrey
them all
Bogart
in
for
that
6.
year.
We have Humphrey Bogart for 6 pictures. Quick, I need 6 scripts for Humphrey Bogart.
We're gonna make them all this year.
I mean, really, it at
He's a
times does
disheveled
feel
man.
that way. It was like, oh, we signed this actor. Okay, do we have a part for him? No. Well, quick, get to
Big
writing
one.
a script that fits this guy. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. We have Marlon Brando. Cool. What are we doing? I don't. Here's this movie. It's called Streetcar Named Desire. Perfect. Quick, start
Well,
writing another one.
I mean, and it happens today too, to some extent. But I mean, these people's names are bigger
Adam
than the movie
Sandler.
titles sometimes. That's not what I mean.
Oh, I I
6
get.
picture deal with Netflix.
Like I'm saying, they signed
Well,
they signed the actor because that's what brought people to the movie.
Yeah, oh well. I mean,
Well,
Which
that-
like obviously,
that's
like
totally-
you understand. I'm just like it's
But I
it's
do.
interesting.
I mean, it is along the same lines though. Of like you look at actors that do sign multi-picture. Who was Mike Myers signed like I can't remember how many like
For Cat in the
6 picture deal or something. Yeah, and the one he turned down a movie, and so basically they're like, okay, well if you're not going to do it, then here's this movie you have to do, Cat in the Hat. He's like, God damn it, I guess I have to because I signed this contract, and if I don't do the movie, I'm going to be in breach.
Yeah, apparently,
yeah, I mean-
Dr. Seuss's widow was so perturbed by the adaptation that she said no more live action movies ever. Sorry.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, it
And
was
that
pretty bad.
explains-
I mean, I hate the Jim Carrey fucking Grinch.
What? I like the
It's-
Jim Carrey Grinch.
Oh no,
What?
I hate it so much.
I feel like it's good. You don't think it's good? I
No,
like it.
I
I don't
maybe
know.
maybe it's just because I like hate the makeup and stuff. It's like very Tim Burton-esque feeling to me.
I
even
feel
though
like
it's,
back in
Ron
the day,
Howard, I'm
Jim
pretty
Carrey
sure.
was like the one guy who could get away with doing that kind of stuff just because he was so expressive. Like I feel like he could pull
No,
it off.
I feel like
Mike
he's
Myers,
fine.
I don't think pulls
he's
it off.
fine. No, I think Jim Carrey's fine. I'm saying like
No, I get
the
what you're
fucking-
saying.
What's her name?
I just don't agree with you, Cindy Lou Who.
the Lou Who lady. No, the girl that he likes.
Cindy Lou Who?
No, Cindy's the girl.
Yeah, right.
No, the
No,
little
no, he's
girl.
talking about, like, the
I'm
woman
talking
he
about
has a
the
crush
older
on.
woman. Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
I'm like
Yeah.
it's just like the like little
Yeah.
They all have
Yeah.
the nose.
yeah, they all have like the weird nose and then like the stupid hair and I don't know. It's like a fucking funhouse like horror makeup thing to me. I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is.
I would be interested to hear a film student or somebody do a talk on the similarities between this movie and The Room. All I'm saying. There's just so many similarities. I feel like even like we can pick out. I can't like I would like to hear an entire talk on it. It'd be interesting.
Somebody's like
Oh,
doctoral
guys,
thesis.
I pulled up
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I pulled up IMDb, and the top goof on IMDb is when Jim takes the ammunition clip out of Plato's pistol, he fails to remove the round that would have already been housed in the chamber. Yes!
Wow.
It's
One
not
in
just
the chamber,
me!
baby.
It's not just me! Woo!
That's funny.
Caught it. I caught it!
Yeah, I did notice some parts. This is in the goof section too. I noticed some parts where they clearly like dubbed the audio in later, and it doesn't exactly line up.
Yeah, I
Like
noticed
what?
that.
Really?
Wait a minute.
They couldn't just make this work?
Okay. This trivia scene is absolutely bonkers. This trivia fact. James Dean was injured several times while shooting the switchblade fight, during which a real knife was used. What?
Wow, what a badass.
Oh,
you
this
know?
explains it. James Dean got angry when Nicholas Ray stopped the knife fight scene after noticing that Dean had been cut on his ear and was bleeding. James Dean said, "Don't you ever cut a scene while I'm having a real moment."
Whoa. Damn. Hardcore
Jesus.
method acting
It's
right
fucking
there.
Daniel Day-Lewis over here.
Yeah.
Dude, I imagine his reaction is real when he's talking to the cop at the very beginning, and he's like, I just might lash out or something. And he's like, well, to get out on my desk, and he starts kicking and punching the desk, and he's like
Yeah, he's
looking
like,
at his hand. I'm like, yeah, I could fucking imagine that would hurt. Like,
yeah.
dude, you just
Huh? Who'd have
knocked
thought?
this wood
Punching
desk
a
like 8
solid
times.
piece of wood 5 or 6 times. He had to wear a bandage for a week after hitting his desk.
One of my pet peeves from old movies is still when they do a high school movie and all of the high schoolers look 35. Like James Dean was like 24.
I was gonna
and
say
Natalie
James
Wood
Dean
was young.
reminds James Dean to me. James Dean to me looks like oh my god, what's his name? Luke Perry. Where it's just like you look way too old to be playing. Like we're gonna suspend disbelief for the sake of the project, but like you don't look like a high schooler.
Well, some of the greasers literally looked like they were 35. Like some of those dudes literally looked like.
To be fair,
they've
they
been
might
around
have
for a
just flunked a bunch of grades.
10 years, 15 years.
I mean, they were skipping class to have knife fights, so I mean, they're not the brightest.
That's fair, yeah.
None of us had seen this film, so you're gonna get 3 fresh ratings from the Goob
Funky
Squad.
fresh ratings.
Cam, why don't you lead us off?
Sure. Yeah, this wasn't my least favorite older film, but honestly, as we've kind of discussed, a lot of the themes were super weird, and the behaviors of the characters were at best off-putting, and at worst, like very terrifying. So it was fine, and I also feel like the last like 30 minutes were kind of a drag, strangely enough. Like I feel like it just went on for a long time. So I'll give it like a 6 out of 10. It's older movies aren't generally my thing anyway, but there were some redeeming parts, but overall there were a lot of really weird, like, I don't know. Like I said earlier, like there were just so many parts where like I just felt like uneasy about the prospect of what they were doing in the movie, but it also didn't feel like that was the point. It felt like the point was this is a good thing that they should be doing.
I feel like at a certain point it was just kind of like lawless, like when they like hang the chicken from the family's thing.
Yeah,
and,
what
like,
the
sit
hell
out
is
front. I
that?
was like, what the fuck?
I love that the guy then goes and releases the chicken.
Good guy. Yeah, they kept it alive too. They weren't as
Yeah.
psychotic as Plato. They were like, I'm not gonna fucking kill a chicken just to.
Let's go
Just
let
to
this
torture this
chicken
family.
loose on their lawn now. Like, just good old wholesome 50s humor. You know what would be hilarious? Now that we've hung this chicken upside down, we just let it run all over their yard.
I thoroughly enjoy this movie. Like we said, I had waited so long to watch it. It's beautifully shot. The CinemaScope is pretty tasty. I do love me some CinemaScope. You just get that like nice, a lot of black empty space in the frame, obviously, but it's just so wide. You get to see so much. Lots of iconic shots and lines from this movie. But I think I'm gonna have to go and watch the other James Dean movies now, because I really liked this one. I've only heard good things about East of Eden, and Giant, so I would recommend this movie. We kind of talked about it, like how it's super sporadic and kind of all over the place. Like you kind of come in and you're like, oh, they're just like rowdy teenagers, and then it's like they're being hunted, and like there's knife fights at the observatory in plain daylight, and we're doing races off of the cliff to see who's gonna jump out first. Like the movie's kind of just wild, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I give it a 9 out of 10 actually. I waited way too long to watch this one. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey.
I was not expecting a 9. That's...
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Huh.
I mean, it did take me 4 hours to watch this movie, but because the baby kept making noises and shit, so like I watched it in parts. But like maybe if I sat through it all the way, I'd have
Respite
been
from
like,
crying baby, 9 out of 10.
but maybe if I like sat there and like watched it all, I would have been like, okay, this movie's kind of dragging at points. But I don't know. I do like slower, like slower
This movie
movies
feels
that like
hectic
build.
for some reason I can't put my finger on. Watched it in 5 parts.
But yeah, it's like I don't know. To me, it kind of felt like a nice slow build. But I don't know. It was weird. It was fucking weird, and I
No,
like weird.
I'm not judging. It just caught me off guard. I was
No, because like
I'm judging
I
a
don't know.
little.
Like I don't know. I'll be thinking about it for the next day or so. You know, I'm like, damn, that movie was quite odd.
It is odd. I'll give you that.
When she tried to kiss her dad, that was weird. When they
But
befriended the psychotic kid, that was an interesting choice by them.
How often do
Which
you
you
think
got
about
over-
food fight?
Which all the time.
I've told people about that movie and they don't believe me. They don't believe that we watched it for
Yeah.
a podcast about movies.
Right.
They're like,
and then
"No,
it's like,
you didn't
oh,
watch."
well, like maybe some like bit, like 2-bit actors are in it. It's like, no, Charlie Sheen was a
Charlie
really
Sheen?
famous actor at the time.
Yeah, it's like Selma Hayek or somebody too, or Eva Longoria. I forget which one.
Yeah, I think
is.
it's that one.
Yeah.
I think it's that
Is it
actress.
Eva Longoria,
One of
like
the
Hillary
Duff
and Haley
sis-
Duff? No,
Yeah.
both are in it.
Oh, both?
Yeah, it's like,
There's a lot of
and then it's Christopher Lloyd, and then it's like
Yeah.
Charlie Tuna and like Sunkissed and like
yeah. They had brands in it.
the Twinkie. Yeah, like God.
Oh my god.
Ben,
What a
bring us
wild
home.
time.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's also really interesting getting back into ratings because I haven't rated a movie in 4 months, it feels like. So, feels like maybe, like
You gotta get on Letterboxd.
refining that bar
Mm-hmm.
would be helpful. I will say this movie was not what I expected. I will say the first hour of the movie is what I expected. Once Buzz goes off the cliff, things drastically were like, oh, this is not where I thought we were going here. I can't say I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I sat through the whole movie. I didn't sit there and keep checking my phone or keep pausing it to see how much time was left. At no point was I like, man, is this done yet? So that's always a plus. This movie, like Dylan, I think made me want to go through and check out some of the other, especially East of Eden, because I think the premise of that movie, I think might be more something I would enjoy than where this one ended up going to. Yeah, it just, like we said, with Plato as a character just kind of seems problematic and kind of hard when it feels like you're supposed to root for that character, which I get. Again, like we said, in 1955, hurting small animals wasn't the giant warning or red flag that it is today, where you're like, this is probably not a healthy kid. Not that means, he should be shot down by police officers. By no means is that ever, the right thing. But it just feels like it takes such a weird turn where something else I don't think we really talked about. But through most of the movie, it feels like they try to portray James as this kind of wise beyond his years, mature character. And then it just feels like that all falls apart when they get to the mansion. All of a sudden, he acts much more like a child or a younger person than what they make him act like throughout the rest of the movie. You'd think the character that you meet at the mansion seems like he would have been more easily convinced to be in a knife fight. Or to do some of the... it doesn't seem like it would have taken any sort of goading to get him to do any of those things. Whereas throughout the rest of the movie, it seems like he's a character who's one, made a similar mistake before, which is why they've moved. But two, just more like a character that seems like they try to paint him as being more mature than just like a 16 or 17-year-old. He's aware of his parents, argumentative in the fact that his dad is, and I don't want to say that in a negative way, but at times that like his dad does come across kind of as like a pushover.
A simp.
Well, not just a simp, because I mean, it's not just only for the wife, but I mean, even for James, like, even in the beginning, well, I buy you everything you want. I give you anything that you ask me for. So it does seem like he's kind of.
He's trying
just,
to be like that cool dad. Like, I'm best friends with you.
But also just seems like I said, kind of just willing to do whatever, or, I mean, like I said, kind of a pushover. James is supposed to recognize this, and then at the end of the movie, it seems like his character completely changes. I said before we started recording, there were parts of this movie that I kept feeling like it was about to become a musical, where they were just going to randomly start into song. I'm really surprised. I wonder if James Dean doesn't die. If by now they've made this into a musical, I feel like that definitely would have happened. I'm honestly still surprised it hasn't. I think I've just came up with $1 million idea, so
There you go.
I'll get to work on that.
You just have
right
to
now,
resurrect James Dean.
Well, no.
You could.
Or I could just do the musical without any of the original cast. None of
don't
whom
know,
are
man.
probably.
I don't know how
None
that
of
even
whom I'm
works.
guessing are alive.
I don't know how that even works, man. No, there's got to be
I'm not saying I'm
one,
going to
right?
deep fake it into the actual movie. I'm saying I'm going to, like how Heathers is now a musical, right? Like you just take the original and then
That
write
makes
it
sense, but
into
they
a
really
musical.
should have included the original cast.
You're right. Damn it. So what did you rate this?
So yeah, I gave this also like a 6 out of 10. I didn't think
Hell
it
yeah.
was. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the hype of it. You hear that it's like one of these all-time great classic movies. Do I think it's worth watching? Absolutely. I think it was an enjoyable movie. I just I don't know. Didn't hit it for me. Like I said, in watching or looking through some of the other related or we recommend movies, I think maybe East of Eden might seem more up my alley. I definitely want to give that a shot next.
If you enjoyed this, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and enter the giveaway to have a chance to win one of the 5 codes to get Rebel Without a Cause, the Maltese Falcon, and Cool Hand Luke at Cocktails and Classics Pod. Check out the show notes below. Make the Toreador?
That's a hate crime. You can't.
To-
You messed it up so bad. I don't know, Ben. What was it?
Ben did the cocktail. Is he looking at you? Googling it right now? You fucker.
I just wanted to make sure I was
You gotta say it
saying
right.
it correctly. The Toreador, which is
there we go.
Spanish for bullfighter.
Bullfighter. Yeah. Cam looked that up. Yeah. Like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. And as always, watch responsibly.